Okay, so look at your background. Notice how, like, especially around the burgers here, see how that's all pixelated? So you really don't want to use that. It's very distracting because then it distracts away from the character. So this image itself is just too blurry. The other thing you're going to have an issue is the size. So really what we need to do is we need to be 8 by 10 by 300 because the file size is going to get really large for you real quickly. One of the things we could probably try to do now, it will make some changes here. Um, let's go to image canvas size and do a 8 by 10. We might have to create a new document and just copy and paste things over. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to have to do. So what I want you to do is do a file new. Okay, change this to inches, 8, 10, 300. Click on create. Then what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to copy some of this over. So let's see here. I'm going to click on the first layer and I'm going to hold down the shift key and click on, I'm choosing just the characters right now. We'll bring the other ones over. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to, you can do a copy and paste if you want to. I'm just going to drag and drop it in. Oops, hold on a second. When you do a file new, I was doing something different before. Make sure the color mode, where we have a color mode here, that needs to be in RGB. So let me just go back to print here real quick. There we go. I was working with some grayscale images and it remembers the last thing I did. So now what I'm going to do is then I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to drag this drop. Hold on a second. Let me delete that one. There we go. So here, that's a nice, it's a good size. Now I don't know if we'll use those. I don't know. I'm not sure what that is down there, so I'll have to look at that. And then what you want to do, let's bring, let's just see what this background is because it might be different when we bring it over. Yeah, it's just a little bit too pixelated because then we would move it down below. But as you can see here, it's just, I think we need to find something a little bit different for that background. Okay, so again, we got to make it 8 by 10. The other thing you're going to have to do, and we got to bring the text over, but it's not food flippin' Fred, it's flippin' food Fred. So you have to make sure that's in the right order. So the name is flippin' food Fred. And we probably want to do something different with the text and make it stand out as well. So once we have this over, you got to make sure you name all your layers. I grade on that every time you do that. So you have to name each of these layers by double clicking on it. Oops, double clicking on the text. If you double click on the layer right above around, it's going to go into the properties and you type in the name. Okay, so for this, what I'm going to probably suggest of doing, I guess you know what, you could probably do this pattern up here in the background, but let's make it a little bit different. So let's go up to filter. There's so many things you can apply here. Let's do, let's see if oil paint will help a little bit on this. I think we might have to do something else. So maybe let's do a let's do a motion blur. Change that angle around a little bit. See if that works. Could be an interesting look. Um, And we can do something like, I'm going to take it all the way up, create that. And then what I'll do here is I'm going to create a layer. This is going to be my wall. Then I'm going to create a layer right above this. I'm going to make a floor out of this. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to choose for my foreground color, I'm going to choose a brown color. Okay, and then my background color, I'm going to choose a lighter or darker brown. Now, what I'm going to do is then I'm going to take my rectangle marquee tool and I'm going to select this area down here at the bottom, which is going to be the floor. And I'm going to go up to filter, render fibers. It's going to create kind of like a wood floor look, And then what I want to do here is now I'm going to go up to edit, transform, perspective to create that perspective that I want. Okay, and then deselect. Now typically what I'll do is I'll make it darker up here shading wise, so I'll create a new layer and let's see here, and let me go back and reselect this thumbnail. All I did here is control click the floor thumbnail and that selects it, but I'm still in this new layer. I'm going to take my gradient tool, I'm going to go from black to white. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my blending mode here on my layers, multiply, and change the opacity a little bit. And we got some shining, something like that.